Tyrese Maxey has started off this season by establishing himself as one of the best guards in the entire Eastern Conference. And with it, with his development, with the way that he's changed his game, with the way that he's taken over since James Harden was traded, he has completely changed what the Sixers look like, what the future looks like in Philadelphia, and they're a better basketball team after trading away James Harden. And by far, the thing that has changed the most for Tyrese Maxey is his three-point shooting. He was terrible as a rookie. He's gotten better and better over the years to become a great three-point shooter. But this year, it's the off-the-dribble threes that have changed everything for him. He's shooting more of them, and he's shooting them at a high percentage. Because teams, rightfully so, are terrified of Tyrese Maxey getting to the rim. He's incredibly quick, and so he's got a lot of opportunities like this. I mean, you can see right here, this defender is absolutely terrified of Tyrese Maxey getting to the rim. They do a lot of this stuff where Paul Reed is actually the guy on the floor and they let Tyrese Maxey run the second unit because these guys need help getting shots created for them. And the defender's terrified that Maxey is going to get to the rim and he gets right to his step back and knocks it down. If you can make these kinds of shots, this is what puts you on a different level as a guard in the NBA. So then what starts to happen is teams want to start going over the top of these screens. This is Bruce Brown. Miles Turner's going to back off, and Bruce Brown's job is to get over this so that Maxey can't get to his pull-up three right here. But Maxey uses that against Bruce Brown here. Look at this. Look at the leverage. Yes, it's a little bit of a push-off, but he uses his momentum going this way because he wants to get over the screen so bad. And Maxey gets into his step-back three and knocks it down. Big shot towards the end of the game. Once you start to see teams doing stuff like this where they're changing their coverages up, they're going over the top on a guy that's one of the fastest players in the league, that's how you know you've evolved as a player. Because again, this is what teams are terrified of. They're terrified of Tyrese Maxey getting to the rim and getting easy twos. Like, that's all the way from basically half court, and he's so fast. Killian Hayes is playing him to his right hand. Killian Hayes, the only thing he wants is for Tyrese Maxey not to go this way. But because he's so fast with the ball in his hands, it doesn't matter. Blows right by him, gets right to the rim. This is part of what makes all those pull-up threes so effective because teams are terrified of this. And then when you're on a roll like Maxey was in this game, then nobody knows what to do. They start changing up their coverages. They start screwing up their coverages. This is Bruce Brown in semi-transition. This is Miles Turner again. Rough reel here for the Pacers. These guys don't know what they want to do. Bruce Brown's already been beat by going over the top. They don't want to go underneath it and give up an open three-point shot. They don't know what the heck to do. Miscommunication, Tyrese Maxey right to the rim. And I'm telling you, if Tyrese Maxey wasn't a good pull-up three-point shooter, he would not be getting shot attempts like this. This kind of stuff would not be happening. Cam Payne would not be guarding Tyrese Maxey all the way out here. He'd be like back here and he'd just be kind of following under, and maybe he'd be worried about mid-range shots, but a lot of teams are fine with guys taking mid-range jump shots, but Cam Payne is not having that. He wants to get over the top. He doesn't want to give up pull-up threes, and what he does is he gives him some space. Bobby Portis is in the lane trying to protect against the roll man as an and-one. And when teams can't figure out how to guard a guy, they can't figure out they should go over, they can't figure out they should go under, what they end up doing is they end up switching, and that's how you end up with Damian Lillard guarding Tyrese Maxey, which is just not what you want if you're Milwaukee. He recognizes the switch, he's going to attack this mismatch and get another open pull-up three. Same thing here we were talking about earlier with the Indiana miscommunication. Teams just don't know how to guard this guy right now. Yes, teams can guard this better. They can have better communication. But when you just don't have a solution in ball screen defense, this is what you end up with. They end up with PJ Tucker. This is actually pre-Harden trade. You end up with PJ Tucker setting a screen here and Embiid setting a screen here. And you want Schroeder to get over the top of this, but then you're worried about Maxey just getting to the rim because look at all this space. Siakam has to get over, and then Tobias Harris is going to be wide open. And ideally, you'd probably like Gary Trent to switch up here and then have Schroeder guard PJ Tucker, but that opens up PJ Tucker on the offensive glass, and if you don't get there in time, it's going to be an open three. And even if you do get there in time, Embiid can set this screen, and then you've got Maxey coming downhill here as well, and what that ends up with is just all kinds of miscommunication. So again, when you can't communicate properly, what are you going to do? You're just going to do the easy thing. You're just going to switch it. You're going to have KD step out, and KD's still a fine defender at this point in his career, but probably not the guy you want guarding Tyrese Maxey because he's so quick, uses that quickness, pull up three. I mean, I could show you clip after clip after clip of this season of Tyrese Maxey hitting these pull-up threes and opening up his offensive game. But if I'd spend the entire video talking about pull-up threes, that'd be kind of boring, right? So Tyrese Maxey's also changed the Sixers in a really critical way, and that is he's allowed them to play faster. The last 2 seasons, the Sixers have been one of the slowest teams in the league in terms of pace, but obviously, Maxey's a guy you want to get out in transition. Not to mention the fact you want to capitalize on the great defense the Sixers have played the last couple years. When you're getting stops, you want to get easy baskets off of it. And especially when Embiid isn't on the floor, this is Paul Reed getting the block here, Maxey is taking off and running, trying to create easy looks in transition. This is another example. I mean, just look at this speed. Like, if this is James Harden, this play just doesn't happen. Look at where Maxey is. This is a nice defensive play. The ball's going to end up right here. And look at him just take off in transition. This doesn't happen if this is Harden. And look at the easy looks that this creates in transition. And this is the kind of stuff that can just absolutely supercharge an offense. When you're a good transition team and you have half-court players like Maxey and Embiid, it's just so tough to stop. Speaking of Embiid, haven't really talked about him in this video. He's right here. And the really nice thing about Maxey is that we talked about all this stuff. We've got Paul Reed on the floor and trying to play faster and all that stuff. But everything that Maxey does works really well with Embiid out there as well, because teams are so scared of him, right? If this is a different big, if this is just a lob threat big, Miles Turner's probably a little bit further up and you've got someone at the rim here, and you can kind of make things a little bit more congested in the paint. But because this is Embiid, Miles Turner has to stay attached. Embiid can hit this jumper, he can get to the rim, he can get an easy steal on the post, he can trail behind and get this offensive rebound. You have to stay attached to this guy. And so look at all the space that this creates. And before, this is just, Tyrese Maxey, a pretty solid player. But Tyrese Maxey, the star/superstar, this is just too much space. And the result, of course, just like everything else in this video, is an easy look. And the benefit of Embiid also obviously doesn't just exist with him getting to the rim. You're going to watch Daniel Gafford here basically give up an open layup to Tyrese Maxey because he's so nervous about Embiid. Embiid can shoot this. He's a decent three-point shooter for a big. And Daniel Gafford normally, like if this is Paul Reed, Daniel Gafford is down here and he's cutting this off. Granted, Paul Reed's not going to be picking and popping. He's going to be right here. But this is causing so much attention that it's just going to give Tyrese Maxey an easy lane to the rim. Now, obviously, the Washington Wizards aren't exactly a great defensive team to show clips of, but this is just an example of kind of the gravity that the Embiid-Maxey pick and roll creates and how difficult it is to stop. But here's the difference now with Tyrese Maxey. This, for Philadelphia, is a necessity. Until they make another star trade, or if they make another star trade, this is no longer something that is just a luxury. Tyrese Maxey has to be this guy. He has to be this guy for the entire season. He has to be this guy in the postseason against teams like Boston that have great perimeter defensive guards. And I'm excited to see if he can continue to do this, because the player that he's been to begin this season is exactly what Philadelphia has needed the entirety of the process era. And if he can be it in big games, if he can be it against the best teams, if he can be it in the postseason, the sky is the limit for this Sixers team this season. And make no mistake about it, if the Sixers reach their goals this season, if they're really good, if they make the conference finals, if they make the finals, it'll be because of Tyrese Maxey. It'll be because of his work ethic, his development, and you love these kinds of stories. You love when guys recognize things that they need to get better at, things that will help them change and evolve their game, things that will help their team, and they're ready when their moment comes. This Sixers season could have been an absolute disaster post-James Harden trade if Tyrese Maxey wasn't ready, if he hadn't gotten better as a player. And the fact that he has completely changed everything for Philadelphia. And after years and years and years of frustration, it feels awesome to finally have kind of a feel-good team there with the Sixers.